So some of you might have seen, like I hope you're looking at the chat, because for instance, Nicole Palma from the MPA, the Marine Protected Area, has, if you're interested, what she's done is she's put up a Google form for people to fill in. So, I mean, that's a cool idea. And then other people have their emails out there, and there's Ariel from Elkhorn Slough and coming. Oh, we have just so many people, I can't even see you all. And
Wow.
Yeah.
So maybe should we get started?
Yeah, I think we're ready. Yeah.
Ready to go?
And
All right.
yeah. So my name is Laura Lee Link, and I work with the Service Learning Institute in the College of Science. And I'm going to let Andrea, who is the Associate Director of the Service Learning Institute, to lead on, because she's got, she has most of the answers. And I always get real nervous when I'm on, So anyway, Andrea,
All
go
right.
for
Well,
it.
good morning. And that's funny, Laura Lee, because I look at you as the person with all of the answers, because Laura Lee is a veteran of service learning, veteran in terms of teaching as well as a community partner. But maybe I have some of the answers. The other person on this Zoom that has a lot of answers is Renee Casa. So Renee, could you put your video on and introduce yourself right quick?
Hello, everyone. My name is Rene Casas, also SLI staff as the community partners and evaluation specialist. So welcome.
Thank you. And so in addition to seeing Laura Lee a lot, if you're in the sciences and the service learning end, if you have questions or if you come to our office hours, which we'll have this week and then throughout the semester, you'll see Renee quite a bit, and you'll see me as well as our great student assistants who are here to help answer questions, especially when you get into the registering your service site. But for today, I just wanted to welcome everyone. Welcome to the spring term. If I've already presented in your class, some of this might be a little bit of a repeat, but I'll go quickly. And the main goal for today is to really get to hear from community partners and hear about some of the service opportunities that you'll have. So welcome everyone. Before we go into further introductions, because the community partners will get to talk more in depth, I just wanted to talk a little bit about and give an overview of what's possible with service learning. So if you could go to the next slide. A couple of housekeeping, just thanks for muting yourself. And this session will be recorded and shared. If you have questions, go ahead and use chat generously, because we'll get a copy of the chat. We can kind of comb through questions, and we'll also try to monitor them in real time so we can answer them. Also know that all of today's information will be on the website, and those are the links there. And on the next screen, that's just an image. The next slide just shows, what our website is. You could go to the next slide. Yeah. So you'll see this mask a lot. It's just to remind you that service is remote this semester. It's all remote. Next slide. So let me just start by sharing some examples of remote service projects, because we were all thrown into this last term. Fall term was our first remote only term, and it was pretty scary for all of us. We weren't sure what would be possible. But when we talk about remote service, we're really talking about online and or phone outreach and interaction with others. You could work with K-12 students, tutoring or working on serving on an after-school program, providing support by preparing activities or facilitating activities for youth. You could work with adults remotely, online or via phone. For example, helping immigrants prepare for the US citizenship exam, or doing phone outreach about services. You could help out with fundraising. Many of our nonprofits, especially in a remote environment, really need help with fundraising. It might be anything from calling supportive donors and businesses about local nonprofit fundraising needs. The other types of remote service that was done, and really excellent examples in the sciences, you could serve by creating educational or marketing materials, such as lesson plan hyperdocs for teachers, and I'll show you a quick example. or help develop social media, the web presence, or create videos, again, to help nonprofits with fundraising, public education, and public service around the sciences. Next slide. So here's one example that's one of my favorites, and it came out of one of the science classes. It was a board game that was developed for fifth graders, I believe, called How Do We Impact the Earth? And so if you look at this, it's a board game, but each of those board pieces were hyperlinked. And so if you clicked on, for example, the Learn one, it took you to a website about how to change the law through the democratic process. So this was a pretty creative way to educate students about their carbon footprint. Next slide. Another example, so let's say you're already thinking like, well, I don't create graphics, I don't draw, I don't do websites, what could I do? Another example of remote service is providing online assistance to people. So this is an example of one of our partners, not related to the sciences, the Central Coast Citizen Project, where people get involved to work with people who are preparing to take the US citizenship exam. So that's another form of remote service. And next slide. And going back to the sciences, last semester, students created some pretty cool educational posters for Monterey Peninsula Regional Park District. And so these are just two examples. And I know the MPRPD people are here, so they might show this and a lot more. But these are just some examples of what you might do in terms of remote service projects. Next slide. Just overall, just so you know, there's 4 ways that you could serve remotely. And today what we're really focusing on are what is the remote service that you could do with partners that are already partnered with our university. So that's who you're meeting today. So, and this is kind of in order of, I don't want to, maybe it's not fair to say the best type of service, but it is in order of the type of service that if you really want to get to know what's going on in the peninsula, you'll start with number 1. So start with looking at our existing community partners, and you can find them by going to our website, and I'll show this really quickly shortly, where you'd find a list of all of our remote service opportunities, as well as a list of community partner videos. And the nice thing about the videos is that it's organized by category. So you can go right to the science and environmental section and see those videos. Another way that you could serve is to identify a service site near you. Again, it's remote only. So let's say you are down in San Diego, and instead of the Monterey Regional Park District, there's the San Diego Regional Park District. You might want to reach out to them and say, hey, I'm interested in doing some remote work only. Would you be interested in having me serve with you? If they say yes, that's great. And you would do what is known as a short-term agreement. The main thing is you want to keep in mind that it's remote only. What you don't want to do is give your service learning professors a lot of gray hairs by coming in, let's say around week 8, and saying, guess what? I've had a great time doing beach cleanup with seniors outdoors. It's like that's going to drive us all. Like I said, that's going to make everybody's hair stand on end, because technically you're not protected if you go on site to do any kind of service. So if you serve at home, just please keep in mind, or serve at a service site near you, please keep in mind that it needs to be remote. Another type of service is number 3 is our virtual volunteer hubs. And those are volunteer hubs that have been created by large organizations throughout the country, and they've collected all kinds of service opportunities. There's a bird watching one on there that might be of interest to those of you that are birders or interested in the birding world. And so that's an example of a volunteer hub. It's run by someone else. And so if you were to do that, you or your professor would serve as your site supervisor. The other type of service that you can do is what we're referring to as service at home. You might have, because we are all sheltered in place and hunkered down, you may well have siblings or relatives living with you that need assistance, whether it's tutoring or helping them run errands. If you're serving at home, you have to be living with the people that you're serving with. And so again, it has to be remote. Or if you're not living with them, then you're communicating via Zoom or via the computer. So those are the types of remote service. If you've got questions, put it in the chat. but many of these other topics like short-term agreement will be having follow-up short tutorials and sessions, so you can get all your questions answered there. This is what you'd find if you go to the student website, and you'll see the friendly mask reminding you that service is remote only, as well as the rest of the schedule. And go ahead to the next slide. And here's where you'll see also, if you just scroll down that page, you'll see the links to what I was just talking about. You'll see the link to the spreadsheet, or where you'll find all of our remote service opportunities with our current partners. You'll see videos, you'll see the link to the service hubs. There's all kinds of information on the student webpage, so you'll want to check that regularly, because we will update it as we add events, add new partnerships. We'll add it to the spreadsheet, but certainly we'll highlight it on our website. Thanks, Renee. Next slide. And just to sort of close this out so you can start hearing from partners, what's possible, just keep in mind, all service is remote only. It's phone or computer, no in-person service. If you are using your phone, you will see this once you go into our website and look at more of the information about MySLP. But we do, as a reminder, ask you that you use an online app to make calls. You don't want to use your personal cell phone number. So even if, let's say, you sign on for service, like with Meals on Wheels, where you're making calls to people who need services, you're still going to create either a Zoom account, Zoom phone number, or a Google phone number to make those calls. You don't want to use your own cell phone. There is one exception, and one exception only to remote service, and that is if you happen to be currently employed at a site and your professor approves that what you're doing meets the service outcomes. So let's say you happen to be working for Save the Whales, and Save the Whales has more than enough project that they can handle, and so you go to you talk to them, and you talk to your professor, and you say, hey, there's an extra project they'd like us to do. That is possible, and you can certainly be paid while you're doing your service. Next slide. And the first step is what you're doing now to get started. You want to talk with your instructor and community partners before you register on MySLP and before you complete a learning agreement. And if we have time, we can go through what that looks like in terms of MySLP and the learning agreement. But if we run out of time, not to worry. Again, we will have follow-up sessions on this. Again, if you have any questions, put them in the chat box. And I think we're ready for community partner introductions.
And before the community partners introduce themselves, we have a couple of the faculty here. So I'll have them introduce themselves. Hester.
Hello. I teach social and ecological justice service learning this semester. I'm co-teaching it with Netta Avenari, and so it's going to be a fun semester with lots of remote opportunities. We had a really great time last semester too, so I'm looking forward to this. Thank you. Anything else you want me to tell you?
No, that's good.
Okay.
And Robin?
Hi, I'm Robin Pelk, and I am teaching marine science service learning and co-teaching biology service learning with Jillian Acer.
And Laura Lee, and I'm teaching environmental studies, 369 civic ecology service learning. So we've got, I think, pretty much all of our science faculty here, but you know, our partners are open to having other people from other majors as well. So partners, we will give you, we have a time for everybody to have like be 60 seconds. And I have my little phone here, and I can do that for using, you know, like my little, you know, stopwatch. And so that means that you're going to have to talk real fast. If you have images, you can share it on the screen, and then putting everything into the chat is really cool. So you might even have your whole presentation in the chat. So you can put that there. We also are recording. And so why don't we lead off with Stephanie? Do you want to go first, Stephanie Marcos? Because she was here real early. Yeah.
Sure. So, hi everyone. My name is Stephanie Marcos. I'm operations manager at Marine Life Studies. Marine Life Studies is committed to protecting our ocean, whales, dolphins, and other marine wildlife through research, education, conservation, and also whale rescue. And so some remote service learning opportunities that we can provide are students can input our written data taken from our research boat surveys into an Excel spreadsheet. And that's going to be used for data analysis and peer-reviewed journal publications in the future. We also need help processing photos and videos and extracting some of those photos to send to other different research entities. And because of the pandemic, we've been trying to retool our whole educational system since we can't get into the classroom. So we'd like students to design educational lessons or activities, including coloring sheets and games, arts and crafts, puzzles, things like that. And students can also attend and take notes on scientific webinars, including topics on current science, virtual fundraisers, social media, and other nonprofit management.
Wow. Thank you, Stephanie. And she is in the chat. So how about Natalie from Regeneración?
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm the community organizer with Regeneración Pájaro Valley Climate Action. We are based out of Watsonville in the Pájaro Valley area, and our mission is to help our community adapt and flourish as the climate changes. And we have a couple different key roles that we hope students would work on. We are holding a forum in March focusing on women, girls, and climate justice. So there'll be some roles for creating content as well as like publicity for it. And then we'll also have some hours afterwards for follow-ups and just kind of continuing the topic. We also have a big project this semester on electric vehicle equity. So that'll be learning the ins and outs of purchasing new and used electric vehicles for low-income residents, as well as similarly creating relevant content to help people understand why it's important. But other than that, we have other roles for just general advocacy. If you have any certain interests, we've done a lot of work with like farm worker rights and other things that relate to climate change in our area. So we're pretty flexible, and I will put my email and website in the chat.
Thank you, Natalie. And Natalie is a CSUMB alum, a science alum. PG Museum, Julia, do you want to go?
Yes, please. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all having a good start to the semester. I'm the volunteer coordinator at the Pacific Grove Museum of Natural History in downtown Pacific Grove. Our mission is to inspire discovery, wonder, and stewardship in our natural world. So we do this through exhibits, programs, events, and field trips. And we're going all virtual and online these days in the pandemic. So we're looking for about 4 service learners to help us in various roles relating to outreach, creating digital content and curriculum for our new changes exhibit. So I will put my email in the chat. If you have any questions or are interested in helping out, please reach out.
Thank you so much. And she said she only had 4 places. So that means when you contact our partners, you want to maybe send your resume, send what you really want to do. And some of the groups even have their forms, Google Forms for you to fill out. So partners are going to get back to you right away because they are so eager to have you come and serve with them. Megan, do you want to go? Okay.
Sure. Let me share my screen. Let's see. think
Is it not? It should let you.
here. Is it working?
Yes.
I think
Okay.
you can. There you go.
All right. Uh-oh. Sorry. Present. Okay, so my name is Megan, and I'm an environmental education specialist for Monterey Peninsula Regional Park District. And we aim to protect the environment while providing environmental education opportunities. And this semester, we will need assistance for our virtual annual California Wildlife Day, which is going to be occurring this spring equinox. And California Wildlife Day celebrates the rich and diverse wildlife of California. And we'll be offering 3 different learning options or roles. And you'll be partnered with a mentor from either MPRPD or the Carmel River Watershed. So role 1 is going to be video editing and technical support. And we have role 2, which would be a program developer for the event. And then we have role 3, which is going to be a graphic designer who would help us out with social media. And we invite you to check out our online platforms, and you can send me an email if you're interested at eespalo@mprpd.org. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'm sure that the other partners are getting ideas on like, oh, we could do that too. Yeah. So Nicole, do you want to go? Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, I have a couple slides as well
Okay.
that I will talk super fast through. All right, everyone can see that? Okay. So my name is Nicole Palma. I am the program manager with the Marine Protected Area, or MPA, Collaborative Network. So the Collaborative Network is really an umbrella organization that supports and coordinates the activities of a statewide network of diverse coastal communities who are committed to action-oriented grassroots stewardship of California's ocean resources. So we call these groups collaboratives. There are 14, roughly based on county lines along the coast, and they carry out projects to help manage California's network of 124 marine protected areas. Each collaborative is unique, and they act as a bridge to their local community. Collaboratives carry out projects in 3 of the 4 MPA management areas, so mostly education and outreach, but they also do research and monitoring and enforcement and compliance projects as well. The collaboratives aim to bring diverse stakeholders together to get everyone who's interested or working within the marine protected field to come together at one table and talk about what's going on, share information, share resources, share viewpoints, even if they're differing, and basically try to more effectively manage their MPAs from the bottom up. So we bring together ocean businesses, government agencies, fishing representatives, tribal representatives, nonprofits, elected officials, and science and academia. So, researchers, university, museums, aquarium, things like that. So we have 4 opportunities this semester, so not that many, but we aim to keep upping it each semester. So there, on the screen, you'll see kind of like keywords, things that if you're interested in, this might be a good opportunity for you. In the Google Form survey that I'll share out in a second, there's more information on each of these. But in general, we have 1 to support the Santa Cruz MPA Collaborative, so that's pretty local here. 1 to support our broader MPA Collaborative Network, so the organization as a whole. And these 2 can kind of be tailored to what you're interested in. We have lots of needs as a very small organization supporting a lot of people. Things like social media, data analysis, graphic design, administrative support, scheduling meetings, stakeholder engagement, grant research, things like that. Then we also have another role in partnership with California State Parks to review MPA learning resources and integrate them into an online platform. This is more for someone who might be interested in education and outreach, as well as just learning about marine protected areas, because you'll be reading a lot of informational content. You do not need to know anything about web development or web design for this role. And then finally, we're looking for someone who is skilled in web design to help us build out the front end of that online platform. So our website is npacollaborative.org. We have a Google Form survey to fill out if you're interested. You can also scan this QR code that will take you to the survey. I'll put all these links in the chat as well. You can check us out on Instagram at NPA Collaborative Network. And that's my email, nicole@npacollaborative.org. And that's it. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Nicole. Ariel. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. My name's Ariel Hunter. I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator and Volunteer Coordinator for the Elkhorn Slough Reserve, which is a California Department of Fish and Wildlife owned reserve in the middle of the Monterey Bay and one of California's few remaining estuaries. We're looking for between 3 to 4 service learners this year. Our projects are pretty flexible on hours, so if you need it to be longer, like 30 to 35 hours, we can do that. If you need it to be shorter, some of these can be modified into like 25-hour ones as well. A couple of our projects are related to designing and creating videos. So you would need some kind of video editing experience or a quickness to learn how to do some video editing. And that would be creating how-to videos on how to do our new community monitoring science programs. So if you like iNaturalist or eBird, this would be great for you, as well as making do-it-yourself science videos, which is our summer craft series for kids, which this year we will probably not be able to do in person at our visitor center. And so we'd like to have some virtual videos of how to do science crafts for kids. We have 2 positions that are that do require somebody who is bilingual in Spanish and English. One will be creating Spanish language activities for K to 12 age children, specifically designed for being out on the trails. And you certainly can't, you can come visit if you want, but during service learning, since you're remote, you can't really be out on the trails, but we have lots of ways to show you kind of what our site looks like and share photos with you to design those or to give you inspiration. So if you like the idea of creating engaging wetland activities for kids, that would be one. The other is we would like to create a community survey because the demographics of our watershed are really diverse. We'd like to design a survey that is in both English and Spanish and relatable to everybody in the community that will ask and gather data for us on how we can better serve our surrounding area and our locals with lectures and stuff. And that would be probably a smaller one, like 25 hours, because it's just one small project. And then the last project we have is creating an Earth Week social media campaign. So last year, we did a virtual social media campaign where we had posts and infographics and crafts going out. If you are interested in graphic design, or if you're interested in figuring out how to communicate science and conservation to a broader audience, this would be a great one for you. And you would be using a system that we already have called Canva that we could easily show you how to use to create fun posts and get the message about Earth Week out there. I will go ahead and put my email into the chat box here, and we will be talking to students this week and trying, hopefully by next week, to pick some folks and start the ball rolling. Thank you.
It's always wonderful to go out to the Elkhorn Slough in person or virtually. Yeah. Lindsay from Return of the Natives.
Hello, everyone. Good almost afternoon. My name is Lindsay. I am with the Return of the Natives program. We are an environmental program located on the CSUMB campus. We are offering activities for service learners that are virtual posters that we'll be uploading onto all of our social media platforms, or even video making on those topics. We want things covered such as native plants, invasive plants, local Monterey County habitats, a lot of things, honestly, covering nature. There's a lot of things, but a lot of our work is going to be done on a loose schedule. So if you have a pretty tight schedule with all of your classes, that's not something you need to worry with us. You can go at your own pace. We do have 4 activities that do have due dates, things such as the Eco Ambassadors Program, which is creating educational videos for K-6 students in the Monterey Peninsula Unified School District. We also have a fundraising event going on in May, and an Earth Day event, and a Cesar Chavez Day event. But everything else will be done completely on your own pace. So if these sorts of things about nature interest you, you can go ahead and email me at linochoa, LINOCHOA @csumb.edu for any questions that you may have. Or if you're interested in joining our program, we have 25 openings available for students. So go ahead and feel free to reach out to me. And if you think you want to apply to our program, we just need a copy of a resume and a short statement on why you would like to join. Thank you.
And she'll put her information in the chat. And Lindsay is a CSUMB alum as well. Let's see, Sarah, let's see. Is Sarah, yeah, there you are.
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Namey. I am the programs coordinator from the Wahine Project. Our organization, we help youth from different backgrounds build a relationship with the ocean. We mainly do this through surfing, but this year we're adding a snorkeling camp and to kind of dip into like science diving. So if you're divers, and then also we're going to provide swim lessons for people of color as well. So that's one of the projects that we'll actually need service learners for, is to kind of help bring us more of the administrative side of it things, but then also just bringing the energy and just like trying to figure out different ideas to help us move forward with that. Some other tasks that we need service learners for is we do have a new headquarters in Sand City. It's also half of it's a headquarters, half of it's a store. But the upstairs, we want to provide a place for families to come and like just do activities to kind of get out of the house, and we'll make appointments on that to keep everything sanitary. So we need help creating community crafts for youth. We're trying to keep it all environmental themed, and we want to do those like every week. So we're going to need a lot of help creating different craft ideas. Another thing we want to do is create a compost corner, so like a community compost center in Sand City. So we need help figuring out the details of it and then help advertising for it. We also, for Earth Day, we want to create like an Earth Week and create different activities for the community to do. And then different things. And I also need help creating ideas of like things that we can do to kind of do an incentive, and then they can come to the store and get like a discount or something along those lines. We also need help, or we would like to get help with, we want to create like QR codes for a lot of our ingredients we have in the store. So like we have shampoo bars. So instead of handing out like the individual pieces of paper, we'd rather have like QR codes, so then we're reducing the waste that we have. And we also need help with social media. We would like to be able to translate everything to Spanish, specifically like our store website, and also any activities that we provide with any like instructions, we would like to have in English and in Spanish. And then just creating little environmental info packets. And then I'll provide my email in the chat. So if you guys have any questions or want more detail on it all, then I can provide that for you.
Thank you. Boy, getting into the ocean. Yeah.
And another alum. Yay.
Yeah, another alum. Yay. Let's see, we have the Bureau of Land Management here. And is that going to be you, Bruce, or is it going to be Chris? He was here before.
Yeah, if Chris is on, we can go with Chris. And starting off, I want to show you, before we turn it over to Chris, this is a baby tiger salamander coming off of Fort Ord National Monument. recently caught a few days ago. And this is a adult salamander that was caught several years ago. And so everything that we do on Fort Ord is about the critters and conserving the habitat. And we have 3,000 goats and sheep right now on Fort Ord. All of these research projects and management for conservation purposes have generating a ton of data, GPS, GIS needs. And so there's a lot of data coming out of the field that you could work with graduate students from CSUMB and researchers from UCLA who are postdoctorates that are working on all these animals and projects. But there's a lot to do out of the field. So if remotely, that's what you need to do. We have a lot of data sets and things that you can help us with, make sense of what's going out in the field. When you hike alone, you're welcome to go to Fort Ord National Monument on the trails by yourself, and we could show you where these project sites are, and we could make it sort of a field exercise, but it would be on your own time by yourself to be COVID safe according to all of your rules. And so it could be a combined indoor-outdoor project, but outdoors, you'd probably be on your own. But I'll turn it over to Chris if you're still on, Chris. I don't know if he is.
Nope. He's not, but you can also see Chris and has a flip grid, and most of these partners, the science partners, are the most organized, and they have done their flip grids, and they're all on that list, that big spreadsheet list of their offerings as well. So yay, thank you very much, Bruce, and for bringing some real life, not that the rest of us aren't alive, but you know, to us. And yay, and Anthony Tercel, yeah, Tercel, yeah.
Hi, good morning. I'm with Surfrider Monterey. We are dedicated to protecting oceans, beaches, and waves. And the project we're working on started with service learners last semester. And it's a audio tour for the Pacific Grove Recreational Trail, where we're mixing local information and content about the resources. So it could be about marine mammals or tide pools or the geology, and we're mixing that with environmental messaging. And so we're using an app called Echoes that allows you to put sound bites that get triggered as you enter certain areas. So we started working on that last semester, and we're continuing work on that. We have a weekly short meeting just to touch base. Most of it's remote. So it's writing scripts, doing research, then recording those scripts, and then tying them to a geographic location. So it's very well suited for independent remote activities. And we'd love to have as many people as would like to join and collaborate. And I'll put my email up on the chat. Thank you.
Well, you've got an endorsement. Rin said that she worked with you and said it was just a great experience last semester. And for all the partners, did you hear that Anthony said they had a weekly meeting? And I know that like Lindsay has planned monthly meetings and office hours for her service learners to come in. So, you know, thinking ahead, how do you keep together a really good, cohesive semester for the service learners is a great thing. And everybody gets hours when you're coming to the meetings and everything. So yeah, so keeping communication lines open is great. Are there any other partners here who've come that I have missed? Speak up. Let's see. No, I think we've heard from all of our partners. Now, so students, you all have if you have a question that would benefit everybody, we can ask them now, or you can do like private little chats with all the partners right now. You also will find all of these partners, I think, have done flip grids. So they're on the little, they're on the Service Learning Institute's website. And I'm pretty sure all of them, just because they're so together, have more information on that big spreadsheet. Except there's one more, and that is somebody who couldn't come today, and it's Will Frenzel from the from Monterey County Office of Education, is on the flip grid, and the LaSalle School District has a service learning opportunities for service learner for you all to work with teachers in the background. You're not working with kids at all. You're not in the teacher's classroom when they're working with kids. So that means you're in the background. You don't need to be live scanned and go through that whole process. But there are 20 teachers who will be looking for some of you to go and work in the background with them. And that means that you would be making hyperdocs, and you might be making PowerPoints or making short videos or doing some science research for them. And they will be ready next week. But if you go to the giant spreadsheet that's on the Service Learning Institute, their spreadsheet, it'll have my name on it. And there's also a link to a Google Doc, or a Google spreadsheet where you put your names in, and then we will make we'll be placing you with teachers. And so that'll be about next week. So this will be that you'll work with classroom teachers, you'll communicate with them every week, and they'll be using your lessons and everything like this. So there's openings for 20 people there. Let's see, are there questions from everyone? You can be asking the partners in the chat. And Andrea, did you still have that one part about my SLP? Because there looks like there will be time.
Yeah, and Renee, if you could pull the slides back up.
So while they're doing that, we'll say that our goal, the goal for Robin and Hester and I as the faculty members here, what we're trying to do is to get everybody signed up like by the end of next week and serving then the week after next. So we're talking by mid-February, so that it doesn't mean that you're like frantic by the end of the semester. And things are coming up, like Wildlife Week is coming up, that the Park District needs you, to have done your work by March. And Earth Day is coming up in April, and so that there's lots of events happening that really need your work earlier in the semester, not like right there at the end of the semester in May.
So I'm going to turn things over to Renee, who will walk through the forms. It is a lot of information, so please make sure you check the website. We'll be having drop-in office hours this Thursday and Friday at noon, and the Zoom link is on the website. For those that are ready to register this week, we could walk you through that. And then starting next week on Tuesdays and Fridays, we'll have student office hours. But Renee will talk a little bit about where you'll find all your forms, which are all online.
Hello, everyone. And similar to community partners, there's information around the forms that students need to fill out in the community partners section under our website. So community partners, it'll be good for y'all to look at what documents students need to fill out. At the same time, students, please pay attention, because we went from having all hard copy forms to now having everything on our My Service Learning Placement database, so making it easier for students to access your documents via online. So the three main important documents that students need to worry about is their learning agreement, a short-term agreement if students need to do their service at a site that is not a community partner on our database, and then also your activity time log, which is the hours that you're going to be doing at your service site. So to find your documents, the information that will be needed to go through to find your to fill out your online forms. Once again, for all students, please make sure that you reach out to your community partner that you plan on doing your service site at first before registering your placement, as they will need to fill out the learning agreement in order for you to place at their site. So do not add your organization on MySLP before contacting the organization. So as you can see, there's four different steps to the process and forms. Step one is identify your community partner. Step two, complete the draft learning agreement worksheet. And this is a hard copy that we have for students that want to develop it before they fill out the form online. Step three, register your service learning site placement on MySLP or S4. And then step four, completing and submitting your online MySLP learning agreement and setting up your time log. So in order for you to access your documents, you will click on MySLP and you will use the same login information that you use to go into your email, your student email at CCUMB. And so this is a sample page of what your dashboard looks like. So for community partners, it would be looking differently for you all, but for students, this is what your dashboard will look like. Obviously, this is a test for that we kind of administer, so that way we can get to see the students' view and show students a perspective of what we see. So this is a test student and a test course. So obviously, if you're a student, it'll say your course number and the semester that you're taking the course, the course name, and then different directions on what you do next. So in order for you to place yourself at a site, you have to click the green place button. And this is an example of what your release liability looks like. So there's, as you see under where it's asked if you're 18 years or older, you'll be able to complete this. If you're 18 years or younger, then you would contact myself or Andrea on what the process would be for you to fill out this form or have a parent or guardian fill out that form. It also has COVID-19 language for you as well. So, so once you fill out both your release liability and your learning agreement, then you would create a time log. So once you create your time log, the button create time log will appear once you have registered your learning agreement. And this is what your time log looks like. So on the green area is the date that you went in to do your service and the time. The red is the time out. So what time did you leave your site on that day? So it's very specific as far as like hours that you do. And then the calculated hours, which are listed as required, they will be automatically updated. So once you input your time in and time out, your hours will show there. So it's very important for students to know that under the self-reflections and observations is where we're asking students to fill out what it is that they're doing at their site. So that way both the site supervisor and the faculty can see exactly what students are doing for their service. In the right-hand corner where it says, how have the identified activities contributed to the goals and missions of the organization? This was a requirement that was asked when we first started doing online documents. That is no longer a requirement. So we're asking students just to focus on their self-reflections and observations of what they're doing at their site. Just to go back a little bit, when you do, this is very important for community partners to know that when you are talking to your students that are serving at your site, to come up with the date of the week that you want students to submit their time logs to you. If not, then students are going to be submitting time logs to you randomly. So as a community partner, before doing my job at Service Learning, I would have students submit their time logs to me every Friday between 12 and 1. So students would come, this was pre-COVID, so they would come to my office and I would help them fill out their time logs. But for community partners, you know, it's important when you go through orientation with service learners that you set a date of the week of when you want students to submit their time logs to you, so that way you're already prepared of filling out their time log. Because as a community partner, the system only allows students to submit hours once a week for approval. And this is meant so that way, you know, folks don't get multiple emails from a student asking them to sign approve hours for 1 hour or 2 hours. So just want to give you all a heads up. This is the worksheet that I talked about earlier, your learning agreement. So everything that you see in this worksheet is also the same thing that is on your learning agreement on MySLP. It is heavily, how should I say this? We want to let students know that they could create a draft just so they get the process of what it looks like to fill out the learning agreement, and they could just, whatever it is that they do on their draft, they could, you know, send it over to MySLP, copy and paste it, or they already have the information to put onto their MySLP document. Just be sure to have the correct email information. So if you don't have the right email for your site supervisor, then that email is going to be sent to somebody else other than your site supervisor. If that's the case, then go ahead and email me and I'll be able to help you out edit your form. Because once again, the learning agreement, you cannot edit it. That's a document and a required document, almost like you know, an agreement that you're forming not only with the partner, but with your faculty of what you're going to be doing at your site. We also have a tutorials and how to fill out the documents on our website under the students page, getting started under steps. So, and then, so once the student submits a learning agreement, for the faculty, you'll be able to fill out the student's learning agreement on their email, but you'll also be able to fill out the student's learning agreement on MySLP. If you need any information on how to fill out a student's learning agreement on MySLP, instead of looking for their email, please reach out to me and I can go over that with you. But for site supervisors and community partners, be on the lookout for an email. So when students do submit a learning agreement, the learning agreement is going to come from CSUMB Service Learning via Cal State S4. So if some community partners don't get this email, is because your email address or your host email has whitelisted organizations that might not be filtering emails to you. So just keep communication with students that are serving at your site to see if they submitted the forms. And then this is an example of a student that had completed a time log entry. So for example, you have calculated hours, you know, that area of how have identified activities contribute to the goals and mission will now state the student's self-reflections and observations. Status, if the community partner has approved or not approved, and then the status note of what the community partner has said regarding that student's service during that time. And it looks like that's the last slide. So once again, students, if you finish your service learning hours, you're able to go and download your PDF, and it downloads all the hours that you've done and the notes that your site supervisor has left you for your hours that were completed. So I know that there's some students that are applying for graduate school that they'll need you know, to show hours of community service or what they've done for the service and community. So you're able to download these time logs for you and to keep for yourself moving forward. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop share. And if y'all have any questions, please reach out to me, rcasas@csumb.edu. I'll go ahead and I'll put my email on the chat right now.
And in the chat right now, there was a question, can students only commit to one service learning partner, or can we work with other partners? The answer is one service learning partner for the semester,
Yeah, so one of the reasons that we have that is students are only able to sign up with one community partner. And let's say that, you know, you've done 5 or 6 hours for a community partner and things are not working out. Hold on to the hours that you've done and just communicate that with your faculty. Let them know that you might switch your community partner and you could bank those hours. So if you are going to switch a partner, you reach out to us and we delete that in the system for you. So you could go ahead and submit a new request for a partner and fill out the forms. But as Laura Lee has stated, yes, we ask students to serve with one partner because the database only allows you to fill out a time log, a learning agreement for one partner per course.
And
Bruce has mentioned that BLM has never had an unhappy service learner. Yes,
and
Bruce.
I can say that
I agree.
we worked it out with Stephanie at Marine Life Studies. We had a student who was like, oh, it was like, I didn't want to do that. And she was about ready to go, no. And Stephanie, we all worked it out and she had the greatest experience because we changed some of the things so that the student was doing. So, you know, like, talk to your partner if you need, you know, just more, you know, something different, it's not working, talk to your faculty, talk to me, talk to Renee at Service Learning, because what we want to do is have everybody be really successful. And so, you know, you need to be, as students, kind of making yourself be as professional as you can to wow these partners to say, of course we want you to be there, to be working with us. And I can say for Return of the Natives, we've hired 4 of our service learners from last semester. And, you know, and then through the years, many of our service learners have we hired. And so, you know, think of this as not only service, but as a resume builder. Yeah. So we want to thank everybody. Our time is just up. We'll stay here if you have other questions. But you know, Robin and Hester are just like, you know, we all know that they're the greatest faculty around, and so we'll just have a great semester this year. So thank you all. Thank you, partners, for coming. Thank you, students, for coming. And you know, just you know, be good and do good. Okay, I'll stick
All right,
around
y'all.
if we need to.